Hi, this is Lisa from Local King Rubber Stamp. Fall is here and I think this project will make a beautiful Thanksgiving card. So that's started. We are going to use a Peaceful Neighborhood stamp set and the matching die set. We are going to use this autumn stamp set and die set, and please check our online tutorial. I use sometimes I remember last tutorial I was use this autumn to create a beautiful koi fish card. So you can go to our online DVD library. You can find the same stamp set but totally different kind of technique and the different kind of design. Okay, so here's our material list. We are going to use a Local King's new coming product. It's called Magic Mushroom, and I believe you have been seeing few of the tutorial that I was using those mushrooms. They are awesome. It's easy to blend, and it's just a great tool. And we're gonna have some memento, and we're gonna use a stamp positioner. Like I say, if you don't have it, please check our tutorial number 45. In that tutorial, we teach you how to use the DVD case to make your own stamp positioner. It's good to have one, and I'm going to explain to you what's different. We are going to have some memento impact, and we are going to use the VersaFine. And these are three different dimensional glue, a little bit black, so give it a little bit touch up to my deer's nose, make it looks pretty. Okay, so we're going to use this Peaceful Neighbor stamp set. This stamp set is more like a detail stamp. If you have been following Local King Rubber Stamp, you probably know our specialty is the shadow stamp. The shadow stamp is kind of like those solid image. So you just color with markers and then they give you those kind of multicolor effect. But we do have a lot of realistic animal, and they are the detail stamp. So the detail stamp, they have an open area, so you need to color in. So in my tutorial, I use a lot of glossy paper, but I do like matte finish cardstock, and especially recently we are using a lot of Magic Mushroom. I use a lot of watercolor paper. Watercolor paper, the surface is not as smooth as a glossy paper, but I found out they ink well, they blending well. But when I want to do the detail stamp and when I stamped it, usually I don't get a clear image. In this tutorial, I'm going to share a great idea to show you how you can get a great stamp image on the regular watercolor paper. And I bought this watercolor paper from Michaels. It's a Canson, and sometimes they have buy one get one for free. It's a great quality watercolor paper. They hold ink well, so next time when they have a coupon, make sure you stop by. Okay, so we're going to use this VersaFine to stamp our deers and maple leaf image, and I use the watercolor paper. If you check the watercolor paper, the surface is a little bit texture, so when we stamped it, it's better you use a better impact. VersaFine is an awesome impact. I really like it because it really go to the detail. But the one thing is when you use the VersaFine and not VersaFine, when you use a watercolor paper, this is something that you have to do. So this is a stamp positioner. If you don't have it, check our tutorial 45. We teach you how to use a DVD case to make this stamp positioner. They work the same. So stamp positioner is a tool help you stamp the same image at the same spot. So when for example, when you stamped it, if you miss a spot, you can go back to stamp one more time. So that's a great tool. I would recommend it. So when we stamping on the glossy paper, because the glossy paper is a really smooth surface, you don't really have to worry about it. Usually the first stamp you get a nice clear image. And then, but if you have a stamp positioner, you can stamp 2 or 3 times if you made the boo-boo, right? But I found out when you're stamping on the watercolor cardstock, because the surface is not very smooth, so this is what you can do. You can see from the left side to the right side. This is the one I stamped the first time. This is I repeat 2 times, and this is that I repeat the 3rd time. You can see the color tones different. So when you want the stamping on the watercolor paper, I really suggest you stamp at least 2-3 times to get a very sharp image. Okay, I love glossy paper, but I found out the glossy paper, because the surface is so smooth, when you're blending it, you usually don't get the nice result. And also because the glossy paper is coated, so when you apply the first layer of the color, and when the color seal the surface, when you apply the second layer of the color, the first color you apply, because they already coated, they won't really blend together. So if you want to do a lot of blending, it's better you use regular cardstock, or those watercolor paper is the best. The paper quality really make a difference, so you got to make sure that you have a good quality cardstock. And I'm going to show you the two examples. See, this one is the one I use, or coated cardstock. It's kind of muggy looking, it's not really clear. This one is on the watercolor paper, those Kansan water paper I was mentioning in the beginning of the tutorial that I bought from Michael's, and I stamped 3 times. And I'm going to show you when you're blending it, and I'm going to compare two to show you what's different. Okay, so I'm going to show you the lazy people's color technique. You know, I love a coping marker, but the coping marker is really need time to build out and spend the time blending. But my busy schedule, I don't really have time to, you know, spend half hour to make a card. So I'm going to show you a technique. It's like a 10-second technique, but the result is like a 30 minutes result. So you can see those mushrooms that have been used a lot. They lost their original pretty color, but don't worry, that's what's a tool for. Have you seen any artists, their studio or their brushes like brand new? When your tool is dirty, that means you use it. And then we are going to use a desert sand and this potter's clay, and the desert sand is a light color, so you can use your light yellow. The potter's clay, we're going to use brown or orange. So this is the yellow, right? The original color is supposed to be like that, but I use a lot. So we're going to use a light color. You always kind of testing on your scrap paper. See, there's no color. What I do is I just use my chamois or like a wet cloth or paper towel with a little water. You kind of just squeeze the top of this sponge area. And then you use a Kleenex, kind of just pick up some extra color. That's how you clean. So even though the sponge looks kind of dirty, but that won't affect when you coloring. And then this one, this brown, I accidentally use a green on top, but when you apply on your paper, you don't see the green. So when you see the sponge is dirty or you accidentally mix it with another color, don't panic. Just use a wet cloth or wet paper towel. Not too wet. You never wash your magic mushroom. You can try it, but it's going to take a while to get completely dry and they change the shape. So I won't recommend it. This is a new product. They will be shipped by probably in November, and later on we are going to sell individual mushroom later. So if you really have a 1-2 mushroom is too dirty or damaged, we can send we will sell it by individually color. Okay, see, after you kind of squeeze and use a Kleenex, on the Kleenex is going to show a dirty color, but on your sponge when you apply, you don't really see the color anymore. So try to keep one magic mushroom and the one color, and then we almost reach our 100 set free shipping and the free acrylic holding base. The final product is going to come with the 2 acrylic holding bases. It looks really pretty. You can see the image from our website. It's always a good idea to do a screenshot to take a picture of this card. So when you make a card, it gives you something to see. Because my background is already very dark color, so when I do my deers, I don't want it too dark, because if I do too dark, they probably will blend in together. And also check our online DVD library. I use the same stamp set and they create a different card, and especially this deer is totally different looking. I'm going to try to put a card by the end of this tutorial so you can compare. Rubber stamp is so much fun because the same stamp different people, it come out totally different. So I'm going to show you how to coloring. We are going to use the VersaFine black. VersaFine is just awesome marker, but be careful, it take a little bit longer time to dry. If you don't have a VersaFine, Memento or StazOn, they all work too. Those are the three colors I'm going to use. There's a Sand 804 and the Potter's Clay 801, and the little bit gray color is a 500 grape jelly. So I already stamped with the VersaFine on the regular watercolor cardstock. On the left side is to show you three different tones. This is stamped 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times. I think at 3 times we get the best result. And then we are going to color. You can use watercolor or you can use a copy marker, depending on how important your friend is. Just kidding. No, I'm going to just use this yellow mushroom, pick up the desert sand, and from my tutorial, I've been always trying to showing my viewer rubbing instead of tapping. Rubbing, you get a best result. And then we just give it a little bit touch, not too much. I love watercolor paper because they blending so well. On the glossy paper, because the surface is so smooth, so they don't really blending well. So first one, we just give a little bit touch of this desert sand, and if you want to, you can change your mushroom to orange. I'm going to, I didn't clean my orange mushroom, it's a little bit dirty. I'm going to use this brown, I just cleaned it. And I'm going to use the Potter's Clay. Rubbing is the best way ink your mushroom. Always testing on your scrap paper before you start it, because we don't want it too dark. We just want a little bit touch up like that, and then we are going to just give a little bit purple. This purple, see my mushroom have a little bit purple color. I don't even need to brush my impact. So I'm going to just gently rub my deer, and that's what it looks like. So don't worry about the colors of the line. The best part of a local king rubber stamp product is we have a matching stamp and we have a matching die. So after we die cut it, those color of the paper is not going to be an issue. Okay, so this is after we die cut it, but I would like to use my magic mushroom, the brown color, and use this 800 rich cocoa, and just give a little bit touch up to give it a little bit shading, so it's going to look even better. Okay, just give a nice, and you can put on the table, just kind of brush it. Okay, so let's see what's different. This is the one on the watercolor paper, and this one is on the coated glossy cardstock. You can see what's different. Let's grab these. You can see on the watercolor paper, the image is much clear and pop out, and on the glossy paper, it's kind of blurry. So when you use a detail stamp, you can use you can use a watercolor paper. You don't have to use gloss. Sometimes you just have to choose the right paper for your project. So now I'm going to show you how to do this maple leaf. I'm going to just fast forward. It's the same technique that I did the deers. Okay, so after you do the die cut, you can still keep this one, and you can use a stencil. When we do find the other project, we're going to show you how to use this one to work as a stencil. And then now we are going to working on our final pieces. So we're going to need 4x6 watercolor paper, one sheet. We're going to need the gray color, is also 4x6, so you're going to need 2 sheets. This creamy color is 4x25 by 625, and the brown color is 4x5 by 6x5. So I'm going to just a quick forward to use our magic mushroom to color the foundation color. We're going to use the number 100 Dandelion, number 200 Tangelo, number 300 Ladybug, and number 800 Rich Cocos. And because for our previous tutorial I already showed too many times how to use those magic mushroom, so I'm going to just fast forward it. We don't waste the time. Okay, so before we move on to our next step, I want to show you, I just applied a very thin layer of those three colors, so I can still kind of see through that my watercolor basic color, those kind of white. So here is a great tip for you. You're going to use your yellow mushroom, pick up the yellow color, the lightest color. You are going to all over, just rubbing all your paper. So that way we can hiding that kind of like a seeing through white. Instead of you keep using the darker color, because you keep using the darker color, you might accidentally make it too dark. So the best way is I want to still see those reddish color. So the best way is just use your lightest color and just go all over. So that way they will hide those seen through white. Okay, let's move next one. So next one, I believe we all have a lot of Spellbinders Nastability. So the one I use is called the level 10, and we have all different kind of shape. So you just find the one that you like, even like the square. So I think this card, I'm going to just keep it simple. I'm going to just use the oval. And before you choose which shape you want to do, just kind of play around, make sure that your shape has enough room to show your deer. If the shape is too small, you probably don't have enough room to show your deer, so that this card is not going to be awesome. So make sure it's big enough. So I have these on those three ovals. We are going to cut the first one first, one at a time. So after you use the magic mushroom blending the color on the watercolor, they are kind of moisture, so the tape doesn't really work. You just have to be careful, okay? Okay, so the first one we cut it. If you like it, you know, you can just do this. Just put the foam tape like this, and then insert this one here. So you can make a pattern like this. Or if you want to have those kind of orange outline, so what you're going to do is you know what, you are the artist, you do whatever you like. So we cut the first one, and I will not to put the two oval together. I usually get a cookie image, so I cut the first one first, and then I cut the second one. Okay, next. So after you die cut, right, before we create the final window, you can glue it. But before we do that, we can use our magic mushroom, the red one, just give a little bit more touch up around the outline if you want to. Okay, so just give a bit touch up. Those blending mushroom is really awesome because they does a very good job. Okay, and then you are going to use glue. Okay, just put on top. So this is going to be our guiding. That way we know where we're going to, okay, do this. Okay, now we're going to find my third size oval, and we are going to just tape it, or you have a magnetic sheet, that will work awesome. Okay, before we move to the next step, I am going to use my brown mushroom, kind of pick a little bit gray color, just kind of give a little bit touch up for the edge of this oval. Just make it look interesting, not like a too sharp edge. Like this. Okay. Okay, correction. I think one sheet is good enough. I am going to just put this one directly behind that gray card, so I don't really think we need that one. But before we do that, we are going to add a little bit leaf in the background. So we are going to use our autumn stem set. This tiny leaf is very useful, and I am going to just use 2 or 3 color. These are 3 color, and we maybe add a little bit. I think this darker brown will work. So I am going to just fade it out the back with the maple leaf. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We are going to, you can use markers, but that's going to take a little bit while to do it. So I am going to just use impact is faster. So you're going to just rubbing your stamp. Rubbing is the best way to pick up the ink. So I use the first color is Tangelo, and then I'm going to just give a little bit corner touch up with a little bit Ladybugs. And we're going to just give a nice firm press, hold for 3 seconds, let the paper really absorb the ink. And we are going to pick up a Ladybug, and I'm going to pick up some rich cocoa, and I'm going to just stamp here again. So you can use more than 2 color. Every time, if you start with a lighter color, for example, this is Tangelo, and then you want to pick up some darker color, you don't have to worry you are going to ruin your second color impact. But if like now my impact is kind of like a Ladybug, I don't want to go deep into my Tangelo, you can go pick up the darker color, but they won't mess up your darker impact. But if your stamp is kind of like a dark color, don't try to go deep in your lighter color impact. You want to clean it before you go back to your lighter color. So I'm going to pick up a light Tangelo, Ladybug, and even some rich cocoa, and they kind of rotate it. And sometimes you just want one big color, kind of just fill the gap. That's what it looks like. Okay, and then I'm going to just fast forward it, put everything together. Voila! See, I changed the shape, but it looks totally different. Even though my oval shape is a little bit crooked, but just tell your friend I did that by purpose. It's a special design just for you. Why not? Well, hoping you like this design, and please help us to share this awesome tutorial with your friend. Just click the button share. I am sure your friend is going to enjoy this awesome tutorial. Stay tuned, more tutorial coming, and make sure if you don't want to miss any tutorial, make sure you subscribe YouTube channel. We don't send the email out every time when we have a new tutorial out. Also, you can like us on the Facebook. On the Facebook, we usually have our newest update and the newest tutorial. But when you subscribe to YouTube channel, you will always receive an email from us that the new tutorial is available. Thank you for watching. This is Lisa from Low Cooking Rubber Stand. See you next time.